One woman, when I was speaking in front of a church recently, it was a Christian church. After my talk, my Sunday talk, I was telling a little bit about my journey. One woman came up to me and said, "So I was waiting for you to tell us like what kind of monk you are." I said, "That's a good question." She said, "I thought you were a Catholic monk." That's a good guess, because maybe Catholic is my favorite. Yeah, because I love all the Catholic saints, as you know, including Saint Anthony, who finds lost objects. I love Catholicism because of all the wonderful saints, and they all have a different energy too, right? You've got is it Saint Anthony? Yeah, you got Saint Anthony, right? That's Catholic, right? Yeah. So Catholic is huge, and interesting enough, Catholic in a way, Catholic is interesting because it's similar to Hinduism, because Hinduism has many different gods, like a pantheon. Catholicism is the same thing, many different energies. Depending on what you want to find lost objects, call Saint Anthony. He does other things as well. Right. But I mean, it's very similar idea. You call on a particular saint, and then you meditate on that energy, and that power arises inside you. Similarly, in Hinduism, a pantheon of gods, you choose the particular god that you like, that you want to grow in, and then, like for instance, Ganesh, let's say you want to start a new business, you want to start a new project, you want to start, whatever, you invoke Ganesh first to remove the obstacles in the way of achieving that goal. It's very practical, just like Catholicism is. So people say, oh, so they're so different. They're not. And so I like kind of taking the one, if you want to say one God or one infinite power, if you want to say it, and say, okay, how can we make it a little bit easier to connect to? Because how do you connect to a God that's infinite, that runs through all of creation and beyond? Like, it doesn't make any sense to our mind. We can't conceptualize that. But we can think of different beings that represent powers of God and say, oh, I love that particular saint or that particular God or that particular avatar that represents this power of the one God. And so I want to connect with that. It's just hard to connect to the whole Godhead. So that's an interesting subject. Anyway, when the woman said that, I said, well, gosh, I don't really have a particular religion. I just follow the path of Brian. The path of Brian. I mean, that because it's unique. My path is unique compared to yours, So
what did she say?
She said, well, I follow the path of Jesus Christ, who is my Savior and the one God, the one and only.
And then what did you say?
I said, well, wonderful, you follow what you like. And then I said, I'm open to all of it, and therefore when I travel around the country, I can talk to Buddhists, I can talk to Christians, I can talk to Sufis, whatever group, and I can try to relate to them where they're at. And then she said to me, well, I don't know what to think about that. And then walked away. Because she didn't know what to think about it. Because it's hard to, when you just say Jesus Christ is the one, then what that might do in your mind and say, well, then all the others are not going to lead to God. Only mine will. And when you say that...
Was it a Christian group?
It was a Christian group, yeah. And once you say that, you cut yourself off from the beautiful energy of so many other traditions. You see what I'm saying? When you use your mind to say, no, I'm not paying attention to you because mine is the only savior or mine is the only...
Right, I have a problem with
that. Then you're saying, well, now I'm not going to be open to any of these other traditions, and therefore you cut your heart off from feeling, and you can't feel anymore, except your own little bubble or your own tradition. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be open to be able to communicate with any group and share with them with a very open-minded viewpoint of so-called what God is or what meditation is or whatever. And so not everyone is going to agree with that. They're going to say, I'm going to I'm going to stick to my own, and that's fine. And it's not just, I'm not just putting Christianity in a box or something like that. Yoga studios have done this. They say, oh, yoga studio, this is my guru, and so we can't invite you in to talk because this is our guru, and you have a different guru. Similar idea, isn't it not? Similar. If I go into a Buddhist temple and they say, well, we follow Buddhism, we only allow Buddhist monks to come in and talk. Well, then that's the energy they're going to get. It's just the Buddhist energy in that particular thing, and then that's done. And then they block off anything new that I might present to that group. I'm not saying, again, all Buddhist groups do that, but so it's not just Christian. It's a lot of different groups. And so, you know, where someone was talking about setting up a church, I said, why not set up the open-minded church? Where one day we connect to Buddhism, one day we connect to Christian energy, one day we connect to Muslim energy, one day we connect to just pure elemental energy. Let's say the 5 different elements or something, you know? Meditate on each one, because they all have powerful energy that can send you into incredible meditations. All you have to do is be open and experiment with it, and you'll know. And then you'll start to say, oh, I didn't know that there were other possibilities. All along I was just sticking to this one way because I thought this is the one and only. So that's kind of my philosophy. And not everyone's going to believe in that, and that's okay. I'm just kind of sharing amongst people who would be open to that.